and welcome. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Kui, coming to you from Las Vegas. Tonight we will have live updates from several of our correspondents from across North and South America. Starting with May Davila in Ciudad de Panama.
Panama restores curfew by gender and cedula number after spike in COVID-19 cases.
We'll have Janica Era Peralta in Medellin, Colombia. Malls in Bogota reopened, starting economic plan. Next, we have Imelin Ramos in Washington, D.C.
President Donald Trump gives remarks on the jobs report and the latest on vaccines.
Arlene Ocampo in Fort Washington, Maryland.
In Maryland, the state exceeds a milestone of 400,000 COVID-19 tests. Positivity rate drops to 7.38%, and Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announces the beginning of Stage 2.
And we'll go to Mayan Manzano-Gorzon in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
New Jersey Governor joins Black Lives Matter event.
We have Mila Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
225 million grant program statewide to support small businesses impacted by COVID-19.
Let's go to Corpus Christi, Texas with Jane Kathleen Gregorio.
Corpus Christi restaurateur shares tips for businesses to survive during crisis.
And finally, we'll have Emerson Simon in Sylmar, California.
LA County prepares for Stage 3 of California's Resilience Roadmap.
Plus, we'll have Love Sanchez of our Los Angeles Bureau reports about the Church of Christ in Lancaster holding an appreciation event for frontliners. But first, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time Monday, June 8, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 7 million. This includes close to 2 million in the US and more than 97,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 405,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 110,000 deaths in the US and close to 8,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. Due to the sudden increase in reported positive COVID-19 cases in recent days, Panama restores curfew by gender and cedula number. We have May Davila in Ciudad de Panama with the details.
Hola, Anna. In just 5 days after lifting the quarantine measures that limits mobility by gender and cedula number last June 1, the Panama government takes a step back. After a meeting between the Minister of Health, Rosario Turner, and her team of advisors on Saturday, June 6, they announced the re-establishment of the strict quarantine measures in the provinces of Panama and Panama Oeste. On the same day, 541 new positive cases and 16 deaths from COVID-19 were registered. These figures were the highest reported in the country in one day since the virus arrived on March 9. The restriction takes effect Monday, June 8. With the return to this quarantine, curfew hours will be from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. People can only go out for 2 hours depending on the last number of their cedula. Women must go out only on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Men are allowed to leave on Tuesdays, Thursdays, but on Saturdays only until 5 p.m. because the total quarantine for weekends starts at 5 p.m. Saturday and ends Monday 5 a.m. The authorities emphasize that the opening of the companies in Block 2 is maintained, but workers must secure a safe conduct pass in order to go out during curfew hours. Turner explained the decision was adopted after evaluating the report of new positive cases in recent days. The relaxation in the compliance with the use of masks, the very long lines to enter shops, and the failure to comply with social distancing, especially in public transportations. The announcement coincides with the fact that the intensive care unit of the Dr. Arnulfo Arias Madrid Hospital Complex of the Caja de Seguro Social is operating at its maximum capacity. To date, Panama has registered a total of 16,425 positive cases, 421 of which are new cases and 393 deaths. The areas that continue to present worrying levels of positive COVID-19 cases are Panama Oeste, Panama Metro, San Miguelito, and Veraguas. The Ministerio de Salud reiterates to continue implementing measures such as social distancing, constant hand washing, and the correct use of masks, which are efficient weapons to eradicate COVID-19. Desde Ciudad de Panama, May Davila, Eagle News, vivimos en tiempos interesantes.
Thank you, May, for that report. Wow, this is one of the things that most people are afraid of, right? Having to step back. What does this mean for those Panamanians, especially those who have just returned to work?
Yes, and workers under the companies that opened in the first and second block may continue to work as long as they get the safe conduct pass from the Ministry of Commerce and Industries. However, because of the recent events, the government cannot advance in opening other blocks that allow to reactivate jobs and the economy, taking care of lives and attending to the well-being of citizens. Sadly, the employees of companies that belong to these blocks who are expecting to return to work soon will have to wait longer than expected.
Okay. Well, what about you and your family? How does this affect you? Were you back to work already?
I'm a stay-at-home mom, but the difficulty in going to the supermarket during the 2 hours is really takes toll on us.
Yeah,
because I have 3 kids and I have to manage my time in going to the supermarket and taking care of the family.
I was gonna say that you must learn how to really, effective time management, especially when you're limited in what days you go out. Well, thank you, May, for that report. You and your family stay well.
Thank you, Anna.
Malls in Bogota reopen, starting an economic plan. We'll hear from Janica Era Peralta with the details.
Bogota is betting on the gradual reactivation of various productive activities without representing a greater risk for the shooting of COVID-19 cases in the capital. With the 4 malls reactivating, Unicentro in Usaquén, Gran Estación in Tesaquillo, Santa Fe in Suba, and Haijuelas in Fontibon, it is estimated that 2,000 employees will return to work. Carolina Duran, Secretary of Economic Development of Bogota, explains, quote, "We chose the largest and above all that are in different parts of the city, which have gone through the validation process for both the mall and its stores. The opening of stores that are related to the approved commercial sectors that will only be allowed include food deliveries, pharmacies, and stores related to the manufacturing sector such as clothing or footwear. Others will have to wait, as the case with jewelry stores, decoration stores, custom jewelry, and sporting goods, among others. Each store and shopping centers must do its own registration process. Failure to do so, or in the event that is denied, the premises may not function. Hours are from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. No building may exceed a capacity of 35%. Another requirement that they must meet is that staff live near sites to reduce the use of public transportation." Duran warns, quote, "With one that does not comply, the entire shopping center is closed. That is the most important thing." The district will make random visits to review compliance with the protocols, such as minors not being allowed to go to shopping malls. In addition, each will have the possibility of controlling the capacity with Picoy Cedula or Picoy Genero. This plan will end on June 14, and when an evaluation will be made of how it worked. Remember, shopping malls will not be for hanging out or patching, just for groceries or errands. Gustavo Goyeneche, manager of the Gran Estación shopping center, says, quote, "This is more of a social conscience. The shopping centers at this time are not for socializing or for strolling. It is for coming to shop and leave right after." Among the measures taken by some buildings are thermal cameras and antibacterial gel dispensers at various points. Proper use of face masks will be mandatory. 18 shopping malls are patiently waiting for gradual reactivation to begin in towns such as Puente Aranda, Los Martires, Tunjuelito, Ciudad Bolívar, Engativá, Chapinero, and Antonio Nariño. En Medellín, Colombia, Janica Era Prada, Eagle News, vivimos en tiempos interesantes.
Thank you, Janica, for that report. Coming up, more updates from our correspondents across the U.S. Stay with us. This is Eagle News.
Talagang patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants. Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved NutriChoice, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChoice. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco. R Square Variables Incorporated, CompuZell Computer Services, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, IMAC UPV Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved NutriChunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa NutriChunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. This is Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. President Donald Trump gives remarks on the jobs report and the latest on vaccines. We have Aimelin Ramos in Washington, D.C. with the details.
Thank you, Anna. Here in Washington, D.C., protests continue after a long weekend. Calls to defund the police appears to be gaining traction nationwide. Interestingly enough, both President Donald Trump and Democratic White House hopeful Joe Biden both expressed opposition to defunding U.S. police forces. President Trump has this to say. Please take a look.
There won't be defunding. There won't be dismantling of our police. And there's not going to be any disbanding of our police. Our police have been letting us live in peace, and we want to make sure we don't have any bad actors in there. And sometimes you'll see some horrible things like we witnessed recently, but 99, I say 99.9, but let's go with 99% of them are great, great people, and they've done jobs that are record-setting. There won't be defunding. There won't be... Some of the things have been said about the
Also, Biden's campaign spokesperson, Andrew Bates, said in a statement that Biden, quote, does not believe that police should be defunded. Despite the political climate, the ongoing protests, President Trump remains positive on a variety of issues. As the latest jobs report was released last Friday, the U.S. Department of Labor reported that there was a 2.5 million increase in jobs, and the unemployment rate dropped from 14.7 to 13.3%. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany also spoke about the latest jobs report.
The number of workers who reported being on temporary layoffs decreased by 2.7 million in May. And more than that, and this was a great number that was pointed out to me today by the CEA, 300,000 jobs were created for Black Americans in particular.
Many estimated that we would see an increase in job loss and unemployment, and so the jobs report was indeed good news. Today in the White House, President Trump made remarks about the latest jobs numbers report. In his statement made at the Rose Garden today, he said, quote, it's affirmation of all the work we've been doing really for 3.5 years, and it's a great thing. We were very strong. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. And that strength let us get through this horrible pandemic, largely through. I think we're doing really well. President Trump also made remarks on the latest regarding a vaccine for the coronavirus. He stated, quote, tremendous progress is being made on vaccines. In fact, we have ready to go in terms of transportation and logistics. We have over 2 million ready to go if it checks out for safety. And it's also, the nice part is we have 4 companies. I guess you could even say 7 or 8 companies that are doing some similar and some very different on the vaccine front, and some similar and somewhat different on the therapeutic front. For more of the president's remarks, you can read the transcript from whitehouse.gov. Despite the ongoing protests around the country, we still have the pandemic to deal with. So much to deal with each day, but we hope that all of you are staying safe, keeping updated with the latest from your local and state governments, and staying positive during these times. In Washington, D.C., I'm Melin Bondoc Ramos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Imelin. Yeah, we are really hopeful for the vaccine. Hopefully it will come before the flu season, but it's not looking like that. So hopefully by the end of the year, right?
Yes, hopefully.
Yes. So how are you mentioned the protests. How are the protests going there now in DC?
Yes, it is estimated that last Saturday, Anna, was the largest protest held here in Washington, D.C. Now, today marks the 11th consecutive day of the protest for the death of George Floyd. It's actually interesting that the mayor last Friday had asked to make a mural art of Black Lives Matters. You might have seen that it's very shocking, the colors, because it's yellow, bright yellow, Black Lives Matter letters, which takes up 2 blocks on 16th Street Northwest, which is between K and H Streets, directly north of the White House. The mayor even asked for the corner of 16th and H Street, where the mural was, to be to be renamed as Black Lives Matter Plaza Northwest. So now it has that street has an official name. But at least the DC mayors and the protesters' effort are not wasted, because yesterday President Trump tweeted, I will quote, I have just given an order for our National Guard to start the process of withdrawing from Washington, D.C. Now that everything is under perfect control, they will be going home but can quickly return if needed. Far fewer protesters showed up last night than anticipated. Anna, it has been peaceful weekend, and actually today the protests have been peaceful. So we want to say our thanks to the protesters because it has been very peaceful and that's it.
Well, it's good. It's good to see that they're doing it peacefully, because I think that they will be, heard more if they do it that way. And it's good to know that the National Guards are being pulled out, because then that gives a sense of calm, I'm sure, to the residents there. So I'm sure you're checking out, before you go out, you're checking to see where it's safe to go. So I hope that you continue to do that there, Aimelin.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. All right. Well, you take care, and thank you for joining us again tonight.
You take care there too, Anna.
In Maryland, the state exceeds a milestone of 400,000 COVID-19 tests. Positivity rate drops to 7.38%. And Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announces the beginning of stage 2. We have Arlene Ocampo in Fort Washington, Maryland. Arlene?
Thank you, Anna. Maryland Governor Hogan announced that the state of Maryland has conducted more than 435,000 COVID-19 tests because of the series of testing expansions. The state's COVID-19 positivity rate has dropped to 7.38%, and total current hospitalizations have fallen to below 1,000 since April 10th. The state continues to progress with the COVID-19 testing. Marylanders are encouraged to get tested since there are more than 115 major testing sites available. Six Flags America in Prince George's County is one of them. It's free and no appointment is needed. It's open on Wednesdays and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Also, the clinical lab in the University of Maryland School of Medicine's Institute for Genome Sciences has begun processing tests and is fully operational. This innovative lab will be the pillar of the state's sustained testing strategy, pre-positioning the state for any second wave and the next flu season. To find a testing location near you, visit coronavirus.maryland.gov and click on the testing tab to locate a site in your area and schedule a test. Maryland Governor Hogan said, and I quote, "As we surpass this milestone of 400,000 tests, I want to thank all of our healthcare professionals, state and local health officials, science and lab technicians, private sector partners, including CVS Health, Rite Aid, and Walmart, and the Maryland National Guard for rising to the challenge of this unprecedented crisis. We are and will continue to be much better positioned than most states when it comes to testing, and our strategic stockpile of tests and our successful long-term strategy will ensure that we have a strong and fully functioning supply of tests until such time as there is a vaccine." Meanwhile, Maryland has entered stage 2 as of June 5th, except for Montgomery and Prince George's counties, as these two counties just entered phase 1 last Monday. Baltimore City, they just entered phase 1 as of today. So what does this mean for the majority of the Marylanders? As in stage 1, it's up to the jurisdictions to make their decisions on the timing of their reopening. Non-essential businesses may reopen, which includes the following: construction, manufacturing, small and large retail shops, wholesalers, and vendors. Also, the legal offices, banking and financial institutions, insurance agencies and travel agencies, and design studios and the like. They All of these may reopen with safety and public health guidance recommendations, which includes the following: conducting temperature checks for the employees, wearing face coverings whenever in a face-to-face situation, adjusting work schedules by rotating shifts, shorter work weeks, and staggered break times. But if one still has the option to telework, they're encouraged to continue to do so. Personal service businesses can reopen as well, such as the nail salons, tanning salons, and massage therapists. But they can only do this at 50% capacity and also following the proper health and safety guidelines and by appointment only. In order for Marylanders to continue to the next phase, state officials and the Maryland Coronavirus Recovery Team will continue to monitor the data. If the trend is favorable, they will consider opening additional amusement, sporting, and summer activities. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Arlene Ocampo, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Arlene. So with Maryland now on stage 2, what does that mean for those in the workforce?
For those in the workforce and the businesses that are opening up, with the businesses, it actually gives the businesses a chance to assist their employees, the communities that they may have serviced, and the economy as well. But for both of them opening up as well, and for those going back to work, it also means that it's another adjustment period in continuing to practice the new norm, but within the workplace. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, your numbers will continue to, to follow that downward trajectory. Less than 10%, I believe, is the guidelines set by the World Health Organization to continue to move forward. So
yes,
good luck and continue to be safe. Thanks for joining us. Governor Phil Murphy joins a Black Lives Matter event in New Jersey. We have Mayan Manzano-Garzon in Sicklerville with the report.
Thank you, Anna. May I begin with New Jersey's latest numbers of COVID-19 related cases. The total number of New Jerseyans tested positive, 164,497. New positive cases reported today, 356. New number of deaths is 40. And sadly, New Jersey's total fatalities is 12,214. Number of new hospitalizations is 94, while new discharges or recoveries is 112. Slow rate of transmission is seen for the past couple of weeks, as well as downward trend line of positive cases. State officials say New Jersey is ready to enter stage 2 on June 15th, given all the progress seen on COVID-19 cases. Now onto the headline. New Jersey governor joins the Black Lives Matter event. More than 130 demonstrations and protests across New Jersey have been reported over the weekend. All of them say Black Lives Matter, and each and every one of them ended peacefully. One of these protests that took place on Sunday, June 7th, in Hillside, New Jersey, was attended by Governor Murphy himself, along with his wife. The governor marched in the Hillside Strong March to end racism, police brutality, and embrace diversity, and also attended a related event in Westfield, New Jersey. Governor Murphy wrote on his social media portals, quote, "We march because we will not accept systemic racism and bias as just part of our national condition. Black Lives Matter." However, under the governor's own order to fight the pandemic and slow the spread of COVID-19, public gatherings here in New Jersey are still limited to 25 people with guidelines such as social distancing and wearing of face coverings. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, Mayan Manzano-Garzon, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Mayan. So, would that mandate still limit the the large gathering? What's the public's reaction to the governor attending the Black Lives Matter event then?
Yes, Anna, apparently some New Jerseyans, even lawmakers, are not very happy with the action by the governor, saying that the governor violated his own order. In his COVID-19 press briefing earlier today, he was asked about the same issue actually, and he just said that he finds this event one of the most profound moments in the country, and that this movement is filled with gravity, and that he feels different towards this movement. So obviously, Anna, he didn't respond to the issue or to the criticism directly, but instead he said his personal sentiment on the Black Lives Matter movement. Anna?
Thank you, Mayan. Thank you for that report, and thank you for joining us. Hope you and your family stay well as well.
Thank you, Anna. You too.
When we come back, more COVID-19 updates from our correspondents. We will return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
We're watching Eagle News. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. In Pennsylvania, there is a $225 million grant program statewide to support small businesses impacted by COVID-19. We have Myla Simbulan in Swarthmore with the report. Myla?
Thanks, Anna. The governor of Pennsylvania announced today that there is a $225 million grant money to support small businesses affected by the public health crisis and business closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic. As the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania continues its reopening effort, help is needed by Pennsylvanians to recover, especially those small businesses. Let's hear it from the governor himself, Tom Wolf, on what this grant is for.
So today I'm proud to announce a new program that we've developed in partnership with the legislature that will provide $225 million for grants to small businesses. Businesses will be able to use the grants to cover operating expenses during the shutdown and to help them in their transition to reopening. The grants will also cover technical assistance, including training and guidance for business owners as they stabilize and relaunch their businesses. And the grants will provide debt payment relief for qualified borrowers while helping institutions shore up their lending portfolios. So today I'm proud to announce a new program that we've developed in partnership with the legislature that will provide $225 million for grants to small businesses. Businesses will be able to use the grants to cover operating expenses during the shutdown and to help them in their transition to reopening. The grants will also cover technical assistance, including training and guidance for business owners as they stabilize and relaunch their businesses. And the grants will provide debt payment relief for qualified borrowers while helping institutions shore up their lending portfolios. We're going to break down the funding in three ways. First, a Main Street business revitalization program that will receive $100 million of this $225 million. This will help businesses that experienced losses and had their operations directly affected by the COVID-19 shutdown. Second, a historically disadvantaged business revitalization program will also receive $100 million. This program will focus on businesses that are too often left behind. And we'll focus this program on businesses owned and operated by socially and economic disadvantaged owners. When the economic downturns strike, these businesses are often hit the hardest. And we need to make sure people who have struggled due to structural inequality are helped during this especially painful and difficult time.
According to Senator Vincent Hughes, the Main Street business and historically disadvantaged revitalization programs will provide welcomed relief for mom-and-pop businesses in neighborhoods across the Commonwealth. Since this pandemic began, we have heard the needs of the auto body shops, the barber shops, the beauticians, the pizza shop owners, the soul food establishments, and other businesses in our communities. Because the needs of these businesses were not able to get help from other state nor federal programs, it became a priority in the Senate Democratic Caucus. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbulan, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Myla. So how do you think the grant money will help support small business owners affected by the COVID-19? And, you know, some are also affected by the unrest that has been happening nationwide, especially there in Pennsylvania, right?
That's correct. And I think the grant money will help small business owners, especially those that are already having issues even before the pandemic. It will not only help them recover lost during the shutdown, but will also help them during this reopening because of this new rules. Some of them need to make changes on their places of business, especially those conducting in-person operations, so that they to make sure that they follow the guidelines and the requirements for this new normal that they're talking about.
Right. It must be tough, especially for, you know, like you mentioned, the mom and pop businesses, you know, the family owned, because of all the changes they have to make. They have to spend money, you know, putting up.
Exactly. Yes, they already lost money during shutdown, and yet they have to make changes again, you know, and they need money for that.
Well, hopefully they will get the help that's designed for them. Thank you, Myla, for that report.
Thanks, Anna. You too.
A Corpus Christi restaurateur shares with Eagle News some tips for business to survive during a crisis. Our Texas Bureau Chief, Jane Kathleen Gregorio, has the story. Kathleen?
Thank you, Anna. We first begin today's headlines in Houston, where mourners have gathered for a public memorial to George Floyd in his hometown. A number of political figures were in attendance, which include Texas Governor Greg Abbott and U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who paid their respects to Floyd and his family. Governor Abbott posted on his Twitter Monday, "Today I spent time with the hashtag George Floyd family. They are wonderful, God-loving people. They will be the centerpiece of helping America bridge our racial divide and ensure equality, justice, and fairness for everyone in America, and ensure what happened in Minnesota never happens in Texas." According to a media representative for the Floyd family, Floyd will be buried at Houston Memorial Gardens in Pearland. On Wednesday, Governor Abbott announced that Phase 3 of the reopening of Texas will be in effect. As of June 3rd, all businesses that were operating at 25% capacity can now expand to 50% with certain restrictions. Bars and similar establishments may increase capacity to 50% as long as patrons are seated. Amusement parks and carnivals in counties with less than 1,000 confirmed positive cases may open at 50% capacity. And restaurants may expand their maximum table size from 6 persons to 10 persons. Here in Corpus Christi, a Japanese-Korean fusion restaurant owner, Mr. Kildi, told us about how his business, Dokyo Downtown, survived and thrived in the face of the pandemic. Let's take a look.
My name's Kil Lee, and I'm the owner of Dokyo Downtown. We just opened in February 11th, which was 3 days before Valentine's Day, was our first day of opening, and we had a killer month up until probably the weekend when they started imposing all these different coronavirus restrictions. But so we had a tough time after that, and after I think going through a tough April, I tried to get creative. When I first opened, I didn't really have any delivery platforms, but now I use Grubhub, Uber Eats, Favor, and DoorDash. And then also I have this new thing I just signed up for today called Chow Now. So I kind of use technology to get through the coronavirus times because you can't dine in the restaurant, so at least I want to make the online ordering or online ordering system convenient for people to use. And I also launched a reservation system on Facebook and through our webpage, so people can make reservations easily, and make modifications or pick where they want to sit. So that's been super popular since I launched it. So we've been doing the distancing for Governor Abbott's restrictions that he imposed with opening at 50%. So make sure we keep a 6 feet distance between tables so they don't have a border wall in between. And then all the employees are required to wear masks. We did the gloves thing for a while, but then my personal opinion, I just felt like the gloves reinforce cross-contamination because you don't wash your hands, so instead of that I just put gobs of hand sanitizer everywhere so everyone can constantly sanitize and clean their hands, and so far it's worked pretty well. Most customers feel pretty safe coming in here, and I haven't heard many complaints at all about the operation. As soon as Governor Abbott announced 25% occupancy for dining, that helped out tremendously. And now with the 50%, we're doing a lot better. And it kind of helps to, make up for April too as well. So, thank God we live in Texas where we can do that. And I understand a lot of other restaurants in Corpus or in the U.S. in general, haven't had the same cards, but yeah, it's been tough on everyone. But, I'm just thankful that we're able to still, pull through and be here and do well. Honestly, just have patience, you know. I know some people tend to get really stressed out over like what's going on right now, but you know, truthfully, I guess being in business for the past 6 years, I've been in the restaurant industry as an owner. I've noticed that, you know, it's never like just like, you know, a steady, comfortable line like this. You'll go through times where you go through a dip or, you know, and do really well at the same time too. But at the end of the day, you know, you'll get through it. It's all the same. You know, just be patient and you know, trust the process and do things that. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, like this is happening. Do something about it. Like, you know, reach out to online platforms and different methods of, you know, being creative and trying to start businesses.
And I truly believe in Texas we're doing the right thing, but we have to find ways to coexist with the virus. So, you know, where we can still operate and at the same time practice, you know, smart, safe distancing guidelines and you know, operate as you normally do. You know? Otherwise, it'd be debilitating to the economy. And I know when you weigh economy versus like people's health, of course, people's health is always more important. But you know, something like coronavirus, it's not going. It's not. So until they find some kind of vaccine or create herd immunity, we just gotta keep operating, go on with our lives.
In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Kathleen. You know, we've come to know you as the foodie over there. So,
yeah.
how do you discover these restaurants? And you know, before you answer that, I really just want to comment on how inspiring this restaurant owner is. You know, how he just kept being positive and be creative. I like what he said, that we have to coexist. We have to learn to coexist with the virus. You know, I mean, we have to be aware of it, but at the same time, just, you know, do the best that we can to still be able to move forward, right? So how did you learn of this restaurant? What was your experience like?
Well, Anna, I'm glad you mentioned that. It was actually my husband's birthday, and coincidentally, his birthday fell on the day one of the Phase 3 reopening here in Texas. And, you know, I'm trying to plan a surprise for him. I didn't know what was open for dine-in. And in fact, all the restaurants I planned to take him, none of them were open for dine-in at the time. So I actually went to the City of Corpus Christi website, and that's when I first saw Tokyo Downtown. And I discovered when I checked their Facebook page, they have beautiful murals, not just inside but also outside, where you can take pictures and feel like you're in downtown Tokyo. And also one thing about, you know, Anna, one thing about sushi restaurants, I'm not sure if you're a fan of sushi, but it's just not as fun taking it to go. You want to sit there and enjoy your meal with your sushi, with your chopsticks, and the atmosphere. And he really created like a very nice artistic atmosphere with really relaxing music, and you just have this really chill vibe while you're sitting there. And it's a great restaurant. I'm so happy for him for the fact that, you know, we're in Phase 3, and we had such a great experience. In fact, his staff was very friendly, and he even told me that he tries to make sure that when he hires people on the front line, that they're very personable. And I really appreciated that because, you know, on my husband's birthday, I was able, our waitress, she actually surprised us with a free dessert, and she gave him a little pink tiara to celebrate his birthday. So it was a very, very enjoyable experience. And I hope more local businesses like his are able to thrive in the face of these crises.
Thank you, Kel. I was going to ask about the pink tiara, so thank you for mentioning that. Well, belated happy birthday to your husband, and I'm glad you guys had an enjoyable time despite of, you know, what's going on. So continue to be safe, and we'll hear from you again next time.
We'll see you next time, Anna. Thank you so much.
Los Angeles County prepares for Stage 3 of California's Resilience Roadmap. In Silmar, Eagle News correspondent Emerson Simon has the story.
Thank you, Anna. Here
Here in Los Angeles County, California, county officials are now looking over the official and updated California guidelines to move Los Angeles to stage 3 of the state's resilience roadmap with the earliest target of June 12, 2020, which is the earliest date set by the state of California for counties to reopen these various higher risk workplaces. As outlined on California's pandemic recovery roadmap, this third stage would allow the reopening of higher risk environments, but still with the restriction on the number of people gathered in one place. Should the county move to stage 3 of this roadmap, public sectors and private business owners in the following industries would be permitted to reopen their doors to the public. Sporting events and venues without the spectators or audience includes arcades, bowling alleys, gaming facilities, arenas, and stadiums. Education includes schools and day camps. Entertainment industry includes sit-in movie theaters as well as live performance theaters, concert halls, indoor museums, galleries, zoos, and theme parks. Other personal care sectors include fitness or gym centers and nail salons. As the threat of the virus is still present, Angelenos will still be required to continue to wear cloth face coverings, practice 6 feet physical distancing, and maintain strict safety protocols while hand washing and sanitizing equipment used. At this time, the LA County Department of Public Health will still scrutinize the county's data and metrics on their COVID-19 status, as well as meet with the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors to plan on how the various public and private business sectors will reopen and remain compliant with the necessary safety precautions and infection control protocols. On other update, the National Weather Service Los Angeles has issued a red flag warning yesterday until tonight due to the arrival of strong winds reported to be around 25 to 45 miles per hour traveling north to northeast with estimated gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour. These winds are forecasted to be a lot stronger in the valley and mountain areas and may cause critical fire weather conditions. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 823 newly reported cases and 10 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county is 64,644 with 2,655 deaths, as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California currently has a total of 128,812 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 4,626 deaths, as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. Being the most populated county in the state, Los Angeles still leads in the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases and deaths, but we have seen recent numbers to be lessening, which is a reflection that Angelenos are doing their part in limiting the spread of the virus. In Silmar, California, Emerson Simon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Emerson. You know, it's been really windy here as well in Las Vegas, so I can relate to that. Now, going back, you know, you mentioned athletes going back to playing, but the fact is, you know, stadiums and arenas will continue to be empty. That's got to be tough financially for venues and teams that haven't operated for months, right?
Well, Anna, fans are what generate revenue. They purchase tickets, pay drivers to get them to and from the game. They buy food and merchandise and use restrooms that need to be cleaned and restocked. There's a variety of industries connected with professional sports, but because of the restrictions of Stage 3 roadmap, not only will spectators be physically absent, but so too will the money that they would have spent.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard the news. There was a rumor that the Chargers will be playing in the new stadium that we have here for the Raiders. But that's got to be for another discussion, right, Emerson?
Right.
Well,
Anna.
thank you for that report. You continue to take care then.
Thank you, Anna.
Coming up, Church of Christ members in Lancaster, California holds an appreciation event for frontliners. We'll return shortly. This is Eagle News. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. Recognizing the bravery and dedication of frontliners battling the COVID-19 pandemic, the Church of Christ in Lancaster, California holds an appreciation motorcade for those working at the Antelope Valley Hospital. Love Esteban Sanchez of our Los Angeles Bureau has the story. Let's take a look.
This is Love Esteban Sanchez coming to you from the city of Lancaster. Today we are in front of the Antelope Valley Hospital, wherein today we will witness an appreciation motorcade given by the Church of Christ Iglesia Ni Cristo members in the city of Lancaster. Most people return to work after Memorial Day. After the loosening stay-at-home order, these church members, on behalf of the Felix Y. Manala Foundation, instead met at their chapel the following Tuesday morning to ready their vehicles for an appreciation motorcade.
Hi, the Church of Christ, or Iglesia Ni Cristo, is doing the charitable action or activities like helping the community, because it's in the Bible that we need to love our fellow men. And one of the projects that the church administration has launched is helping our frontliners to appreciate their efforts. And we do believe in this pandemic, this situation, frontliners are the ones that really giving their life, their time to help and save people. So the Church of Christ, through our executive minister, would like to show the appreciation to our frontliners by giving them some food or appreciate their efforts, because that's one of the things we need to do for them as Christians and, of course, as true servants of God in these last days.
Their route consisted of a 1-mile drive from their house of worship to Antelope Valley Hospital, where they met together with hospital administrators and nurses specifically working the COVID-19 unit in order to thank them for their hard work during the pandemic.
The Felix Y. Manalo Foundation extends with high esteem its commendation to all medical frontliners, respective staff members here at the Antelope Valley Hospital on this day, May 26, 2020. The frontliners have been the unsung heroes amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. They're working around the clock as they risk their own lives to take care of the sick. On behalf of the Iglesia Ni Cristo, Church of Christ, we thank you all for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Part of the appreciation required collaboration with a local restaurant and finding a creative way to organize a luncheon for the frontliners with the present quarantine in place.
Well, Dean from the Church of Christ approached me, and he wanted to see how we could partner up with the Antelope Valley Hospital and serve them some great barbecue. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And we kind of mapped out a way, because the hospital itself is closed because of the virus. We can't go in and we can't serve the guests, that we'll be able to maybe get some certificates to the guests and give them a chance to come back at their leisure. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, when they have time enough to come down and, hopefully when our restaurants open, and sit down and have some great barbecue with us.
It's a blessing for us to be able to contribute to that. We love it.
like my wife said, it's a godsend. So when Dean came in, like he told me, he said, hey, God led me here. He asked God to find him a location that would be able to, support, his vision going into helping out people who are, of course, risking their life to make sure that we're able to stand here today and conduct this interview. So for me, I was on board from day one.
After distributing gift certificates from Dickey's Barbecue Pit Restaurant on behalf of the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation to the frontliners and staff at the hospital, church members did 2 festive motorcade passes around the hospital's rotunda to end the event. For Eagle News in Lancaster, California, this is Love Esteban Sanchez. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Love. And on that note, let's continue to thank our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate you. And congratulations to the graduates of 2020. We are all very proud of you. We have Alalie Figueroa, Chanel Amagui, Ferdinand Bernabe, Lawrence De Leon, Peter Maurice Torrio, and finally we have Yvonne Edades. That is today's EBC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anna Kui, and we live in interesting times.